Hi, everyone. It's Andy from Foco Academy. And today we're going to continue our series on our intermittent fasting series with our special guest, Paige Davidson. And on today's topic, Paige is going to share with us how to start intermittent fasting. So, Paige, let's just get right into it.
Okay. Good morning, Andy. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm great. We're going to talk today about how to start intermittent fasting. So we've talked about intermittent fasting. You know of all the great health benefits. You're ready to go. Before we talk about how to get started, I want to go over the clean fast, because either you are in a fed state, meaning you're in your eating window, or you're in a fasted state, meaning you're in your fasting time or your fasting window, if you want to call that a window. If you break your fast, if you drink coffee with cream during your fasting time, or if you drink a Diet Coke, or if you drink tea, herbal tea with different ingredients in it besides just the tea and the water, you have then broken your fast. And you are now you have opened your eating window, even though you didn't mean to. So it's really critical to understand what a clean fast is. A clean fast is when you fast, no eating, and there are 5 beverages that you can have. The first is black coffee, nothing added to it. The second is plain, unflavored water. The third is sparkling water or mineral water, unflavored, like Perrier, San Pellegrino, Topo Chico. Plain green tea with nothing added, and plain black tea with nothing added. And I want to talk about black coffee. Andy, are you a coffee drinker?
Yes, I am. I am a coffee drinker. That's how I stay in my fast too.
Okay. Do you like black coffee?
I did it in the past. It takes a little getting used to, for sure.
Okay. I want to direct this to the viewers who think they can never drink coffee without cream. Because that was me, Andy. I mean, to me, coffee was a cream delivery system. I would drink a cup of cream, literally, with a little bit of coffee, and with a light coffee flavor. I would have so much cream in my coffee. And when I learned about intermittent fasting and that you cannot drink cream in your fasting time, I thought I could never do it. But it's important to try to like all of those 5 beverages that you can have in your window. And the reason why is because, your choices are limited. You have 5 things to choose from. If you like all 5 of those things, then that gives you choice. It gives you control. You can plan your fast and say, okay, at this time I'm going to be drinking plain water, but I'm going to have a cup of coffee for a treat. And at this time I'm going to have a sparkling water for a treat. And so it helps you with your fast. I discovered a way to drink black coffee, and it took me a while, but I had never had cold coffee. But when you drink cold coffee, it takes away the bitterness, it takes away the acidity. And I have something I want to share, Andy, very quickly with viewers. I learned to make cold coffee using this device. And I don't think you're going to be able to read it. This is something you can get from Amazon. It costs about $25. It's called a Hyper Chiller.
Hyper Chiller. Okay.
HYPERCHILLER. This has ice inside it, and it has a chamber for your coffee. I have a Keurig, and so I brew my cup of coffee directly into this device. I let it sit for 2 minutes. I put the coffee in a blender, blend it with just a little bit of ice, not much, just a little bit. Blend it really well, let it sit in my cup for a couple of minutes, and this is what I get. Andy, can you see that thick foam on top of?
Yes, I can. Can you bring it a little higher so the viewers can? Oh, yeah.
There. Can you see it there now?
Yes.
Okay. So what you have a cup of cold coffee. It develops this thick, creamy foam on the top. That foam has a light coffee flavor. And underneath of that thick foam is your cold coffee. So when I could not drink coffee black, I could drink this and actually enjoy it. So it tastes good. It tastes kind of creamy, although there's no cream in it. So this is an excellent way, Andy, to ease yourself into liking black coffee, because I would drink these brewed coffees, these cold iced coffees every day. Now you do have to make it. It's not quite as quick and easy as brewing a cup of coffee and going.
Right.
But the goal was to learn to acclimate and get to where I could drink black coffee. So I would drink these cold coffees every day, and I would try black coffee, hot.
Good.
Nope, can't do it yet. Nope, can't do it. But I kept trying. I kept drinking my cold black coffee. It gave me another option during my fast.
Mhm.
And I kept trying. And after a while, I developed that taste for just the plain black coffee. Now I can drink black coffee if I go out with my friends for a social event.
Correct.
And I'm fasting and I choose not to break my fast. I just sit and have coffee and talk and visit, and we have a great time. So this to me was a really important hack, a really great way to transition from drinking coffee with cream
Mhm.
to being able to drink black coffee.
That's great. So you brew the coffee first,
Mhm.
and then you put ice into the hyper chiller, and then you
The
pour.
hyper chiller has ice in it already.
Oh, it has ice
This-
in it, right? And then you
this
pour
is
the coffee
stored-
in there.
Yep, this is stored in the freezer.
Oh, gotcha.
When you purchase it, you pour water into the chamber, you put
Mhm.
it in the freezer, that's where it stays.
Okay.
Pull it out of the freezer, brew coffee right into it. If you have a regular brew machine like Mr.
Mhm.
Coffee, just brew your cup of coffee and just pour it in.
Okay.
Let it sit for 2 minutes. That's all you have to wait. 2 minutes,
Okay.
let it get cool. Pour it into your blender with a little bit of ice. Blend it really well. Pour it into your cup. Let
Uh-huh.
it sit about 3 or 4 minutes, and it develops that beautiful foam.
Nice. So does anything come pouring out, or is it just chills it really quickly in that 2 minutes?
It
in
chills
hyper-
it really quickly, and then you pour the coffee out of the hyper chiller into your
Mhm.
blender,
Nice,
and
nice.
it's chilled.
And
Now,
then it almost comes out like a cold brew, like
Yes.
how a lot of these coffee places are advertising cold brew, where it comes out almost like a foamy beer, right?
mhm,
That
but
is
you have to
great.
put it in the blender to get that foam on it, to get
Correct,
that
correct.
beautiful foam. And if you don't want to spend $25 to purchase one of these, there's another hack I can share quickly. Brew
Sure.
your cup of coffee and just let it get room temperature,
Mhm.
because you don't want it hot. Now that's going to take about an hour. You have
Correct.
to plan.
Correct, correct.
But you can make this same thing. You can make the same cup of coffee with the foam.
Mhm.
You don't have to have that hyper chiller. It's just awesome to have.
Correct,
Just
correct.
let your coffee sit about an hour and get room temperature, and then follow the same directions.
Gotcha. That's a great hack for people that wants their coffee to be slightly creamy. Because
Mhm.
like when I'm not fasting, I like to have my latte. We actually have a little Nespresso machine that does
Yes.
the whole brew coffee, and then we actually have the little Nespresso to whip up our own, organic soy
Yeah.
milk that we make, just to give it
Mhm.
that creamy texture.
Yes.
Yeah, and in that way, it's not a clean fast; it's more of a fat fast for us. But yeah, definitely, it's like this morning you inspired me to just do a little small Nespresso right here, right? So
Oh, okay. Okay. So Andy, we'll have our coffee while we do our
there
talk.
you go, there you go. Cheers on that.
Cheers. Do I have a mustache?
No mustache on mine. So you mentioned the other four things for a clean fast. It's either plain water, sparkling water, green tea, and black tea. Correct?
Yes. And if you don't like sparkling water, see, I was so picky. I liked all the fattening things. I didn't really love sparkling water, plain unflavored sparkling water. But I read somewhere somebody thought that sparkling water tastes like it feels when your leg goes to sleep.
Oh, really?
That
Okay.
was so funny.
Correct.
I didn't like it at first, but I kept trying it. I
Correct.
think that's the key, Andy. Keep trying things, and
Correct.
try it. If you don't like it, don't make yourself drink it. But just wait a few weeks, wait a month or so, try it again, and then
Correct.
I think you develop that taste. And now I like all of those 5 choices, and so that
Mhm.
makes my fast so much easier and more efficient. And I'm in control, and I have choices.
Yeah, that's the main thing is to have choices because I think a lot of people find it hard to do clean fast because they think they just have to drink like regular water. And,
Right.
I think that's the biggest hurdle is like, well, I can't just survive on water for even 12 hours, 16 hours, right?
Right.
It's difficult. One of the hacks that I really like to do, just going a little bit more about you talking about like the bubbly water. At home, I actually use one of those soda streams. I don't know if you're familiar with them,
Oh,
where you can
I've
actually
seen
bubble
those.
your own water. Because
Yes.
I used to drink Perrier and Voss, like the sparkling, but then it's like it gets expensive after a little while, you know.
It does get expensive. That's a great idea, Andy, the soda stream. I don't, I buy Topo Chico or San Pellegrino, keep it in my refrigerator. And I sort of personally save that as a treat. Like if
Correct.
I'm having a hard time with the fast and I feel like I just want something special to treat myself,
Yes.
I'll have one of those. I don't
Yeah.
have them all the time because they do get pricey.
Exactly.
But the soda stream is a great hack. That's a great idea.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So that's something that we've been using, and that's what got us used to all the bubbly water of all, especially people that like sodas, right? They like picking up a diet soda or whatever. The bubbliness, like you said, from doesn't matter if it's a Pellegrino, Voss, Perrier, it gives you that satisfaction
Yes,
of drinking something bubbly rather than picking up
and
a soft drink.
that's a great solution to get off of soft drinks because we know soft drinks are so unhealthy, whether regular or diet. They're both so unhealthy.
Correct, correct. So, the topic today is to how to start the fast. So we talked about the hacks, what we can only drink in the fast, but what do you suggest as a starting window for a fasting window for people that is new into intermittent fasting?
Okay, first, I suggest looking at yourself and your personality. So,
Mm,
Andy, let's say that I'm a person who is slow to change and
mm,
I am intimidated when I hear a fasting window of 16 or 18 or 19 or 20 hours. I think I cannot possibly do that.
mhm,
So for this type of person, I suggest to my clients that you start off with a very gentle, slow, easy fast. What that's going to look like for you is you're going to do a 14-hour fast, which
mhm.
again may sound like a lot to you, but that's going to be during your sleeping time.
Correct.
A 14-hour fast and a 10-hour eating window. So I'm just going to throw out the numbers that I usually use for an example, but just know that you can change these times to suit your own schedule and to suit yourself.
Of
But
course.
say I'm going to start intermittent fasting today, Andy.
Mhm.
At 8 o'clock tonight, I'm going to begin my fast.
Okay.
Another thing I recommend, there are fasting apps that you can download, like Zero. Are you familiar with any of these, Andy? There's
Mm,
Zero and let me see what's the name of the one I've got on my phone real
so is
quick.
that zero with like a ZERO?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, cool.
Z
Okay.
Zero. Another one is called Life, Life. That's the one that I use.
Okay, nice.
So it has a graphic you can say how many hours you want your fast to be. It
Mhm.
has a graphic to represent as that time goes by for visual people. And
Okay.
then you just touch a button to start your fast. And then when your fast is over, you touch the button to stop your fast.
Okay.
It is a great tool to use, especially when you're new,
Mm.
to help you be accountable and to help you visualize what you're doing. Like sometimes, I'll be close to ending my fast and my fast will be almost over, but I'm like, I'm ready to eat something. But if I look
Correct.
at my app and I see, oh man, I've only got that far to go, then I won't do
Correct.
it. And so
Correct.
that's another hack or trick or tip for new fasters.
For sure. For
But
sure.
start your fast at 8 o'clock. If you have
Mhm.
an app, touch the button to start your fast. Then you'll go to bed, wake up, delay breakfast
Mhm.
until 10 in the morning. Okay.
Okay. That's
Does that
totally
sound pretty
doable.
doable?
Yeah.
Yeah, all you're doing is delaying your breakfast for just a little bit. Have
Mhm.
your breakfast at 10 o'clock,
Okay.
and then you've opened your eating window.
Mhm.
You'll stop your fast because you're eating, you're opening your window. So you're
Mhm.
stopping your fast if you use the app. And then your eating window is from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m.
Oh, okay.
in our window. So we'll say two numbers like 14, 10.
Mhm.
The first number always represents the length of your fast. The second number represents the length of your eating window. And those numbers should equal 24 hours.
Correct.
You're looking at a 24-hour day.
Mhm.
And so how easy is that? I mean, for anybody that's nervous about fasting and they think these hours sound scary, I always recommend that really gentle ease into fasting with the 14-hour fast
Mhm.
and a 10-hour eating window. So that sounds doable to you?
Totally. So in that 10-hour eating window, they're going to be, when they first starting, they're going to be eating what they would normally eat. Like if they're going to be a three meals a day, they'll eat their breakfast and space their lunch and dinner between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m., which is totally doable because most people are probably eating in that window most of the time anyway.
Yeah, that's a great question. So you're not worried about your food. And when you first start, I suggest everyone weigh yourself when you start, take measurements when you start, and then stay away from the scale for a month.
Yes.
Because the goal in this first month, fasting is a long-term process. You're not trying to hurry and lose weight. It's not a diet.
Correct.
So your first goal is to really master that clean fast. And so you want to know where you started, but then you're going to stay away from the scale and from measuring for a month. Correct. So that you can really focus on the clean fast. So that's what I recommend for people who want to start off slowly, who will be more likely to be successful if you're not overwhelmed. Now, Andy, maybe you're a person who loves challenges and loves to kind of jump in there and just go with the flow.
Correct.
I'm still going to recommend you ease in a little bit, but I'm going to step it up a little bit for you.
Okay, perfect.
So
you know me perfectly.
No, we're not going to pussyfoot around with you there. If you feel ready for the challenge, then I'm going to recommend for you a fast of 16 hours and an eating window of 8 hours. So while the person who's doing a 14-10, they're going to have their regular 3 meals and maybe a snack.
Correct.
And they're going to start, they're going to get used to their fasting. I'm going to recommend you do a 16-hour fast. So you'll close your window at 8 p.m.
Okay.
And then do a 16-hour fast. So that means that you're going to open your window at noon. That equals 16 hours. That's still not really terrible, is it?
No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
No, all you're going to do really is just skip breakfast.
Correct.
So you'll open at noon, you'll have lunch or you'll have a snack. If you're not really that hungry yet, you'll have a snack.
Correct.
So during your 8-hour eating window from noon until 8 p.m., you're going to have probably your lunch and dinner and a snack if you'd like to have it. Remember that during your eating window is when you can have soft drinks or diet soft drinks or alcohol or a coffee with cream or a latte. That's the time that you can have all of those beverages during your eating window. And so then you'll eat your food and you're not going to say, okay, I'm going to fast for 16 hours starting at 8 p.m. That means I need to get in everything I can. I'm going to snack all day long. I'm going to eat so that I won't get hungry later.
Correct.
One thing I always tell my clients is you never eat for future hunger.
Correct.
Okay, think about that. Never eat because you're worried you'll get hungry later. Eat for how you feel now. And for both windows, eat until you're satisfied. Don't stuff yourself. You don't want to be Thanksgiving full every meal that you eat. Just eat regularly. You'll eat until 8 p.m. and then you'll start your fast. And then you'll repeat the same thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think what you said there is quite important because, one of the questions, I get asked all the time when they ask me about intermittent fasting is like, do I still need to eat the 2,000 calories a day within the eating window? And what you said there is actually more accurate. I don't like counting calories. Eat until you're full, right? I think that's a better way of judging what you need to eat rather than trying to count the calories, because like counting calories is just very difficult to do. And to be honest, it's very inaccurate, right?
It is
It's better to try to
inaccurate. It
eat
doesn't work.
healthy until you're full. And then the
Right.
other thing that I want to touch, because a lot of people is going to say, wow, you're skipping breakfast, the most important meal of the day, because that's what you taught in school, is, we are still allowed to drink those 5 beverages that you talked about. And a black coffee can be your breakfast. And black coffee also tends to delay your hunger too. So if you have a black coffee for breakfast, you're not going to feel hungry until 12 o'clock. So
Andy,
it's totally doable.
do you know where that phrase comes from? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Do you know where that phrase originated? Do you think it started with doctors?
Oh, for sure not.
Definitely not. This was a real surprise to me, Andy.
Right.
I'm a person who reveres doctors. I think doctors are amazing.
Mhm.
And in every field, there are amazing people in that field. And then there are people in the field who are, busy and
Right.
their lives are hectic and they're not doing all that they could.
Mhm.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day was originated. This really is true
Right.
by the big food industry cereal companies.
Oh, I can totally see that. That makes a lot of sense.
They created that phrase
Correct.
so that to sell us cereal, so that everybody would think, oh, we've got to have breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day.
Mhm.
But think about the word breakfast. Break fast.
Correct.
You're just breaking your fast. You wake up in the morning, you have your cereal, you've
Mhm.
broken your fast. Everybody fasts.
Yes.
And so what we're doing is just utilizing all of those good things that happen in our body when we do fast, and we're extending that fast. But you can break your fast at 10. You can break your fast at noon. You can
Mhm.
break your fast at 2.
Correct.
It does not matter. It does not matter. So don't ever get hung up on that. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, because that is not true. That is, I don't even know if there's any science around that, or if it was completely from the cereal companies. But I do know that that is where that originated.
That is so true, because how else are you going to sell cereal unless you're telling breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right? And everyone eats cereal in the morning, right? So I love how you shared that. I think a lot of people would say, hey, you're right. I do eat cereal. Maybe let's try having a black coffee in the morning and see how I feel. I think that is great. I think this is a very quick and easy and dirty way to get people to start intermittent fasting. It's like you're either going to fast for, like you mentioned, the 14 hours, which I think is relatively easy because you're eating in a 10-hour window, which is mainly the window that most people eat anyway.
Very
between 10
normal.
and 8. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then if you want to jump in a little deeper, you can go with the the 14,
16.
the 16-8. Exactly. So you'll be skipping breakfast and eating at lunchtime. So
Right.
one final question, this is a great way for people to understand how to get into intermittent fasting, is how long should they be doing whatever window they choose before going a little bit more aggressive?
Oh, I love that window. I was going to ask if we could quickly talk about that,
Yeah.
because let's look at that first month. You need to think about what your goals are.
Mhm.
16-8 is a really great goal for just improving your health over time.
Mhm.
Okay. If your goal is to lose weight,
Mhm.
or if your goal is to improve some health condition, like if you're pre-diabetes and you're wanting to avoid diabetes, you can do that with intermittent fasting, but you need longer fasting times.
Gotcha.
To heal your body or to lose weight, you want to work up, okay? Slowly work yourself up to where you're doing a window of like maybe a fast of 19 hours and a window of 5 hours.
Okay.
Or maybe even a fast of, I keep saying it backwards. A fasting time of 20 hours and an eating window of 4 hours.
4 hours.
That's what I did.
Mhm.
I wanted to heal inflammation. That's why I started intermittent fasting.
Mhm.
And I was so desperate, Amy, to get out of pain. I read that those longer fasting times were healing and weight loss times. And so I thought, well, I'm just jumping right in.
Correct.
Because I'm so desperate to get out of pain. And so I started my first week with the 19-hour fast in a 5-hour window.
Nice.
Now, it was hard. I will tell you, it was one of the hardest things I ever did because I wasn't used to it. I jumped right in, but my pain was even worse.
Correct.
And then my second week, I went to a 20-hour fast and a 4-hour eating window. And that's where I started because of my pain.
Correct.
But if you want to lose weight and if you want to heal anything in your body, then you want to slowly build yourself up to where you're doing a longer fast in a shorter window. So the recommendation I have for everybody, start where you start, whether it's 14-10 or a 16-8. Do that for a week, because remember, we're not in any hurry.
Yes.
Do that for a week. If it feels super easy to you, if you want to, after 4 days or so, go ahead and increase your fasting time by 30 minutes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And decrease your window by 30 minutes. Okay. So you're adding 30 minutes to your fast, taking 30 minutes from your eating window. But you're going to do that slowly.
Correct.
And it's really up to you how slowly. Okay.
Correct.
If you do it for a few days and you're like, well, this is easy, do it again. Add another 30 minutes and then subtract another 30 minutes. And so that's how you increase your time. And that's how you decide what you want your window to be.
Correct.
If you're really just in it, you're a very slim person. If you started intermittent fasting today, I'm sure that you would be doing it for the health benefits. You may want to stay at 16-8, or you may want to increase to get more health benefits. So that's how you decide. Think about what your goal is. If you need longer fasting times, then every 4 to 7 days, add another 30 minutes to your fast. And then just continue doing that until you're where you want to be. Like if you want to be at a 20-hour fast in a 4-hour eating window, slowly increase until you get to that protocol.
I think that's amazing, because like everyone, like you said, intermittent fasting has so many benefits, and if people don't know the benefits, check our first video. But there's so many benefits, and starting with the 16, the 14-10 window, right? So you're fasting for 14 and 10 hours you're eating. It's a great way to introduce you into intermittent fasting. If you just want to live a little healthier, I think that's a great way for everyone to start. And you can even just maintain that, and you'll be way healthier. Your body's going to have ability to recover and restore itself during those 14 hours. But as you said, if you want to start losing some weight, or maybe trying to get some better numbers on your markers, if you're pre-diabetic or whatever, then slowly extending that window would be a great idea, to the point where you're comfortable at half an hour at a time. I think that is totally doable. So Paige, what would you like to share with us for the following week as we dive into intermittent fasting a little more deeper?
As we dive in a little deeper, I would like to, because what we've talked about between last week and between this week, we've talked about all the benefits.
Yes.
The benefits are clear, absolutely unrefutable. And then we talked today about how to get started and how to get to where you want to go with your fasting. I would like to look at extended fasting.
Nice.
And as an example, I will tell you that when I started intermittent fasting, after 2 weeks, my foot conditions that were so painful my pain was decreased enough. After only 2 weeks, I wasn't limping anymore. And I thought, this is a miracle. I'm going to keep going.
Correct.
And I kept going for about 3 months, but I still had pain. I could walk normally, but I still had pain. And so I did research and found out that I could do an extended fast every week, a longer fast.
Gotcha.
And remember, the more fasting you do, the more healing you get.
Correct.
And so I decided to add in a 43-hour fast once a week.
Nice.
And I did that. So like I would stop eating, like for example, on Monday night at 8, I would fast the rest of the night. On Tuesday, I would clean fast the entire day.
Correct.
Go to bed, get up the next day, and then when it had been a total of 43 hours, I would break my fast and I would eat. I would open my eating window.
Correct.
And by adding that extended fasting, I healed those painful inflammation issues in my feet within 5.5 months.
Wow. Okay. No, that sounds great. So on our next episode, Paige is going to dive into the benefits of an extended fast
Yes.
and really how to get into it, because it's not something that any of us can just jump in and say we're going to stop
Right.
eating for 43 hours. Right. So she's going to give us the tips on that, and she's going to give us a little bit more in-depth detail on all the benefits of an extended fast. Thank you
Yes.
so much for what you shared today on how to start your intermittent fast and all the little tips on getting your black coffee a little bit, tricking your mind a little bit to thinking that you're actually having cream when you're not drinking cream.
That's right.
And just explaining the window, because I think that is the hardest thing, is when people think about they can't eat. But if you're just explaining it in a way that, well, you're normally doing the intermittent fast without knowing it anyway, it's just not, now we're just recording the times that you're eating and sleeping, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think
And
that's a great way to look at it.
I think if you focus on all the things that you can do, instead of focusing on the things that you can't do, that makes it much easier too, Andy.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for today. And thank you for everyone that's watching. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.